I was waiting for that one.
Just wait for you to knock your head. So it's about 45 degrees away from the floor. When she exhales, she's pressing her leg up towards the ceiling, and I'm pressing her foot towards the other leg, towards the other foot. Hold on to the bony part of the other hip. Inhale. Exhale, press his leg up to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, press his leg up to the ceiling.
All right.
Good boy. So first off, with Psoas, sometimes it's a complete surprise on whether or not you even get to it. I've worked with some people, I've done a demonstration where it's okay, I'm just going to pick this person because they're pretty skinny and I'm sure I could drop into their Psoas. And I was doing this demo, shit, I can't even access a Psoas. What kind of a demo is this? I can't even get to a Psoas. What the hell? And I couldn't get there. And then, I was working on another person in the training who has a fair amount of belly there, and I just dropped right onto the Psoas. And so it doesn't even make a difference, what's there. It's usually about internal guarding that prevents you. It's not, if people have extra weight here, it doesn't matter. You can drop right into it, or somebody could be really skinny, and a little bit of a charge will prevent you from getting there. So we don't know if we're going to access it, but we're going to do it, give our best shot. So Psoas is, as we know, or maybe we don't know, because we haven't even looked at the slide yet, attaches from T12, L1, L2, L3, L4, and some anatomists show it attaching to L5. I think it attaches to L5, but some anatomists show that it doesn't. And that may actually be why the L5-S1 joint is quite vulnerable on some people. Maybe they don't have attachments of Psoas there. So basically from diaphragm all the way down to the lesser trochanter, which is deep on the inside of her thigh. We were kind of getting a little bit in there when we were working on, getting close to the territory when we were approaching the bone on the inner adductor. Now, to access this, landmarks you want to know is one, the ilium bone and the navel. If I'm when you're learning to work with the Psoas, you don't want to really go too much higher than the navel out of respect to the kidneys. Once you start getting more comfortable with the Psoas, you can start to discern a little bit more higher up, and you can work in and around without being hesitant or afraid of the kidney. Let me pull this down a little bit so I don't have to keep shoving it down. So we even have the appendix.
Yes, I've also
That is interesting that this one was the one that we tested, right?
I'm surprised too, because this is usually not inside the rotation.
Yeah. Well, it could be really interesting that the opposite side would be the one. So.
Yeah.
Take it off, girl.
That was very modern. So great. Wow. Nice routine.
This is how I sit up.
So
Yeah, me too.
I like to use one hand on top of the other hand. Fingers can be really pokey with Psoas. For many years, I went in like this, and this was my way of accessing Psoas through the palm of my hand. But these days I like to use my fingers because I feel more sensitive. And again, the key is that you let your fingers be loose. These things are soft, not rigid. They're loose as heck. And I'm just going to start to let my weight sink down. Now, with her legs straight like this, the Psoas is long, and so it's going to be actually quite deep in her body. I like to work it with the muscle bong, if I can. If I can't find the muscle, I'll have her bend the knee, and that will pop the Psoas right up into my fingertips, making the muscle easy to find. But I generally like to work with muscles long because that, in a way, it doesn't have to go much further to lengthen if it's already in length. So breath by breath, I just keep letting my body weight kind of just sink towards your spine. And my vector of force is pretty much going right down towards your spine. And what's really cool is that the intestines will just move right out of the way. And if they don't, it'll feel like she's getting stabbed with a knife right into her guts. And she'll tell me, like, ow, that hurts. And it's okay if that's happening because you're not going to damage it. You're not going to be doing that for more than a half a second. You'll just change your vector of force slightly, or just wait and the intestines move. Now, instead of doing this for very long, what I want you to do now, Rebecca, is to bend your knee and have the heel on the floor. And now I already popped the psoas into my finger. I can feel this thing now pop up into my hand. If I wasn't certain, I could say now, lift the knee up towards the ceiling. There it is again. Something hard just hit my fingers. And then bring it back down. Now, a nice range of motion to help explore opening the psoas is this. I want you to take your knee and bring it this way. And this is going to open up the channel between the iliacus muscle and the psoas. So it kind of cleaves this area open. Then she'll bring her knee to the midline. Heel stays on the floor. And then that closes the channel and then straightens the leg. And then I'm just going to lean in and have you do that like 4 or 5 times, at whatever pace you want. And then I feel the muscle kind of like underneath my fingers like this. I love this though. It just feels like life force. And I'm looking for that breath sync, meaning when she's inhaling, I'm inhaling. And she's exhaling and letting go of her tension. I'm exhaling and letting go of my tension. Feels like I'm holding onto a forearm that's flexing underneath my hand. For psoas feels like a forearm that's just like Popeye, just pumping its muscle underneath my fingers. General rule of thumb with psoas, for people who have anterior tilt of the pelvis, or lordosis, or the hyperlordosis, it's usually the inferior, the medial fibers of the psoas that have gone tight. So you really want to move more towards the midline eventually. People who have a posterior tilt in the pelvis, it's usually the most lateral fibers of the psoas that have gone tight. That's really interesting. It's like just the lateral band of the psoas gets tight. Right, so more away from the, so you just kind of be coming more from the side. Now I feel like I'm almost dropping down towards the spine. Just a little bit away from my hands. And because I'm receiving each one of her breaths, like you notice when she's inhaling, my hands are actually rising a little bit. She doesn't have to, like, if the person pushes their breath too deep, they're going to lift you off the muscle every time, in which case you don't want them to breathe that deep, because then you just have to kind of keep dropping on the muscle. So I would probably coach somebody who's doing that. She's not really doing it, to kind of end the breath around the navel rather than going beyond the navel with the breath. Now to change things up a little bit, I'm going to come out, and then I want to show you how to do both of them. Now there's 2 ways that I like to do it. One way is a little quicker. This way is the quick way, where you can go in through both sides simultaneously. In fact, bring your feet onto the floor, and then taking deep inhales, and on exhale, tuck your tailbone. Kind of go with that. Then on the inhale, oh yeah. I receive in the breath, I receive in tissue tension on the exhale, tuck of the tailbone down. It's nice to do bilateral psoas release because it seems to balance it, especially if you've got one person like me, or you'd be working on my right side for half the day. And when you come to balance them at the same time, it kind of seems to kind of neurologically link the two muscles a little better than if you just work for 20 minutes on one and 2 minutes on the other because the right one needed more attention. Something about working them bilaterally at the same time seems to balance them back.
I agree with that too. Like if you should work on the side, that means extra tension for sure. But these are structural muscles that are connected to your breathing, right? So they're connected with breath and working at the same time. There's this regulation of neurological pathways and your responses to trauma, fear.
There's one more way that I want to show you. This is a really intimate one that you don't want to do with strangers. You want to do with people that you're friendly with, that you like, and that you're comfortable with. It looks like this. It's okay if I come between your legs? Sure. I'm actually going to bring your legs up onto mine. Now, depending on how big your partner is, you may want to use your elbows. Just drop in. That's easy.
You wouldn't do the same thing on your knees with a spread, like with your legs up on yours, while you, I don't know how to describe this.
You like kneeling between her legs, basically, or?
I suppose so.
You could, yeah, again, whatever biomechanics work for you, because this, for some people who, because I got kind of a long body, people who are shorter, they kind of have to work this and is not so comfortable, so in that case, probably being on their knees would be more comfortable. It's an excellent point. Again, what I'm showing you is stuff that works for me. And really, body work is about how do you make it work for you. And, you know, there's 1,000 ways to peel a potato or skin a cat, and there's 1,000 ways to put your body mechanics to help release the psoas. And so part of it is, again, the most important thing I would say is about making yourself comfortable. And so maybe if I even wanted to, I could just let my head relax so I don't even have to hold my head in tension. And again, breath sync. As she's exhaling, I'm exhaling. And then on this next round, on the exhale, slowly, doesn't have to be much at all, do that little tucking of the tailbone again. Slowly work that. Really, I'd like to stay here for like 4 or 5 more breaths and just feel that rhythmic rock.
So were you